Hello, twisted humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia. And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
Hello, and welcome to episode 159 of your favorite podcast. Today,
oh, look at that. She's stealing the lingo. Perfect.
Consistency
Tell them
is
it's
key.
their favorite.
It is their favorite. We're just like digging a little brain worm for them.
Uh-huh.
So when somebody's like, "Hey, I really like true crime podcasts. What's your favorite podcast?" Twisted and Uncorked. Quick answer.
Your favorite podcast.
I have a murderless episode for you today, but I wanted to go again. I'm on the pattern of different routes for me. I went a creepy history route for you all.
I love that.
And I was going to tell you about a popular 90s sleepover game for spooky little bitches like us. So before I do that, though, Sierra, do you have a fun fact for me?
I do, and it is a creepy history fun fact.
Oh,
so
perfect. Get out of my brain.
On March 1st of 1950, the West Side Baptist Church in Nebraska exploded at 7:27 p.m. Now, at 7:20, everyone was supposed to be at choir practice. That's what time they meet.
Okay.
However, all 15 people had separate, coincidental, random reasons for being late that day. One of them, the kid just wouldn't get in the car quick enough. One of them had to pick up somebody else on the way. One of them was injured, or not injured, I'm sorry. No one was injured. One
That's
of
the
them
whole
was
point of this.
right, exactly. I don't remember all of them, but everyone was running late. And when they got there, all around the same time at 7:30 or so, the entire building was engulfed in flames, but they noticed that everyone else was just pulling in too.
Imagine that fucking feeling of just like, what?
Yeah, like the
near-death experience on steroids. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
All 15 of them were late.
And it was because no pressure, guys, but that's a sign.
It was because of like a gas leak too. So it like nothing anyone could have stopped or that someone did on purpose. Like just a fucking accident that I'm sure they believe God saved them from. You know, this was the Baptist church. I'd like to say it was the universe, but who knows?
Everyone believes in whatever they want to believe in, and it all gives us meaning in some way, and that is the universe's sign that all these people are destined to do awesome things.
Or at least not die on that day.
Yes. Hey, as you so eloquently pointed out in our bonus episode with Amanda and Robbie, we're all going to die eventually.
Right.
My fun fact I saw on Cassidy Liston's story from Drinking the Kool-Aid, and I thought it was a super cool fun fact. It also is in like the rough same time period as my history today, so I thought it was perfect for this episode. And it is that this is directly a quote from Wikipedia. Modern emoticons were not the first instance of the little colon end bracket, or the one with the nose, the little dash in between, being used in text. In 1648, poet Robert Herrick wrote, "Tumble me down and I will sit upon my ruins, smiling yet," with the little colon and end bracket. Herrick's work predated any other recorded use of brackets as a smiling face by about 200 years. So people have been using smileys for a while.
That's so cool.
Also, anyone that knows me knows that I abuse smiley faces in my text message.
And not emojis. She does not use emojis. She uses old school smiley faces. Okay.
That's mostly
Oh.
a lazy thing, or not like a lazy thing, but I'm in like a hurry and I can't click an extra button and then find the right one that I want.
Yeah,
I'm the worst.
that's why iPhones are superior. If you write smile, it pops up the smile face for you.
Fair. Touche. I accept that.
Love an iPhone.
And full disclosure, we are on a red wine today, but I am not actually drinking it at the moment because I'm going to my mom and dad's house after this to dog sit for the night, and we don't
I
drink and
got
drive
us.
on this show. I'm so jealous. Out of all of the statistical times that Sierra and I have drank together on the show, guys, in the last year have been very low, so this is sad. I noticed you had a glass last night too when we recorded the bonus.
I did.
It is a Portuguese red called Amanus Douro from Douro, Portugal, and it is easy to drink and 13% ABV, so watch out. It has a dark red ruby color with upfront aromas and flavors of black plum, chocolate, licorice, and a note of wild honey. The palate is drier, but medium-bodied and rich with ripe tannins and a long, smooth finish. I had never had it until I showed up at my friend's house. We were playing dominoes, and her boyfriend is Portuguese, so like true Portuguese, like still has a house there, like goes back and forth all the time. He's super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's got good taste in wine too. Because up until this point, Silk and Spice has been my favorite, but this is a close second. I'm really excited to have that again this weekend. But for now, I've got a ginger ale to tide me over. And yeah, so we are going to get right into this week's murderless. I forgot what I was talking about. Murderless story. But before we do that, we are going to take a quick break to hear a promo from Spiritual Sisters podcast. And we will be right back. So, I personally spent sleepovers as a kid prank calling boys in our class, playing flashlight tag in the dark, and daring each other to play Bloody Mary. But I know our friend Amanda Jacobson has mentioned on Wine and Crime a few times that her and her friends used to play Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. Have you ever heard of this game? Did you ever try and play it? Okay,
Yes.
okay. So you're familiar with the game, but for those of you that aren't, the object of the game is to ritually levitate one of your friends. Just a normal girl stuff, you know. The particulars of the game vary slightly depending on the house and the participants and all of that. But generally it goes something like this. You choose someone to die. The chosen one lies on the floor, her arms crossed over her chest.
I'm sorry, can I first ask, what fucking psychopath plays it with the person is dead? We're just levitating each other. We're not dead.
Not the true version of the game. Gotta act
It's
it
not
out.
a game. It's an act of witchcraft. There is no dying. There is just flying.
Well, we'll get into it. That's the name of this episode. And her friends surround her. Everyone puts 2 fingers under the dead girl, and they all try to lift. Usually, you know, people are laughing, they're goofing around. It's not really successful. The leader will call for silence, maybe light some candles, and begin some kind of ritualistic chant, and often call and response. The chants vary. One style goes, she's looking pale, she's looking worse, she's dying, she's dead, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. And that is repeated over and over and over again, and in unison until the girls attempt to levitate again. This time, like magic, the dead girl rises off the floor.
Okay. I need to know where you found this information, because these people in whatever state or country this is are fucking crazy. All right. You just stick your 2 fingers underneath and you say light as a feather, stiff as a board, you start by whispering, and you get louder and louder and louder and louder until you're like screaming and she's floating. Okay, that's how you play.
I like Sierra's version, but I
Yeah.
found this in multiple sources. So
That's insane.
take it up
This
with the
must be-
author of this
I
article,
think-
Sierra.
I think the people who are reporting on this were the moms of the girls who did this.
Maybe.
And they were like, my kids aren't witches. It was just a game. No, they were fucking
One of
witches.
the articles that I
So-
read was a girl that was around the same age as us, based on some of the references that were made at
Well,
sleepovers. But I think once you know the history behind it, it might make a little more sense as to why this version of the game has made its rounds on the internet.
calling it a game is just saddening me.
I'm sorry. It's magic, Sierra. I reference it many times in here, okay? Hold on. The earliest known recorded reference to light as a feather, stiff as a board can be found in the diary of one Samuel Pepys. In his entry on July 31st, 1665, Samuel recounts the story told to him by his friend, Mr. Brisbane. This is literally some man's diary, and I'm obsessed with history, okay?
Yeah.
Mr. Brisbane was a scholar and a sober man, and the two were speaking of enchantments and spells. Mr. Brisbane's contribution to the collection was specifically about incantation and a situation that he encountered in Bordeaux, France. The chant that he referenced is translated from French because no one wants me to attempt to speak French today. And it says, "Here lies a dead body, stiff as a stick, cold as a marble, light as a spirit, rise in the name of Jesus Christ." Not nearly as fun as the 90s sleepover version. Samuel continues in his journal that Mr. Brisbane saw 4 little girls, very young, all kneeling, each of them, upon one knee, and one began the first line, whispering in the ear of the next, and then the second to the third to the fourth, and so on. Then the first began the second line, and so round and round it goes. Each put a finger under one little boy that lay flat on his back on the ground, as if he were pretending to be dead. At the end of the words, they did, with their 4 fingers, raise this boy as high as they could reach. Mr. Brisbane reports that he figured it must have been a trick and challenged the girls in their magic, bidding the boy to move aside for the, quote, cook of the house, a very lusty fellow, end quote. But much to his surprise, the little girls raised him up in just the same manner. I said, modern day spiritualists have got nothing on these girls, that's for sure. Samuel was baffled by the story. He asked whether they were Protestant or Catholic girls, and they told him that they were Protestant. The reason that he was wondering about this was because Catholics, of course, are traditionally more invested in miracles. That and a famous levitator in literature was a Catholic saint named Saint Joseph of Cupertino. Oh, to live in Europe, man. I love like that their history goes back so much farther than ours.
Yeah.
Of course, light as a feather, stiff as a board has been explained away by simple physics for some skeptics. The lift doesn't work on the first try because everyone's giggling and not coordinated, but it works when each member of the group is lifting at the exact same time, distributing the weight equally. The world record for the heaviest deadlift with a pinky finger is 242 pounds, which, like, what? My pinky can't do shit.
I've seen those videos of people who like lift things with strange small parts of their bodies. It's weird.
Why?
Yeah, like men lifting things with their balls. I'm like, doesn't that hurt? You know, for real, it happens.
Gotta go. Oh man. That said, all the coordination in the world isn't going to get your friend to stay up in the air on her own accord, like Rochelle does in the craft. You're going to need a little extra oomph and magic for that to happen. And I personally like to go the magic route, the spooky route, spiritual route myself, because the world is better, in my opinion, with a little bit of magic. Not games, magic. Samuel's diary goes on to explain that the popularity of the rhyme and the ritual being of the times because of the plague outbreak. In 1665, the year that Samuel's diary entry was written, was the same year that the Great Plague arrived in London. This would be the last major plague outbreak in Europe, though Samuel could not have possibly known that when he wrote it at the time. He was just interested in his friend's story. By the time of his writing, the plague had already killed millions and millions of people throughout Europe. But according to his writings, his friend, Mr. Brisbane, witnessed these girls playing between 1628 and 1631. And if children are suddenly surrounded by death, it's no surprise that they would sneak it into their games. Need we remember Ring Around the Rosie?
Right.
To us, the game might feel spooky, but for them, it could have been existentially reassuring. Look, our friend is dead. We can make her rise again. And also, like, weren't witch trials a thing in the 1600s? Like, how did these girls get away with this? I have follow-up questions. While the time that this was used was perhaps to provide comfort and clarity in a time of confusion and death for children, the game continued well past the Great Plague and became a popular game to play at sleepovers. To do with your witchy friends. It is likely the booming interest in the occult that came later in the times, and specifically the magic of levitation, that kept this going. Levitation, or transvection, is, of course, the claimed ability to raise a human body or other object in the air by mystical means. While it's believed in some religions and New Age communities to occur during... Why can't I speak English? It was a supernatural, miraculous, psychic, or energetic phenomena. There is no specific evidence of levitation ever actually occurring. Allegedly, cases of levitation, much like I mentioned earlier, are usually explained away by deception and fraud as trickery, illusion, hallucination, smoke and mirrors. We've all seen Chris Angel, right? Many mediums have claimed to have levitated during seances, especially in the 19th century in Britain and America. During times of war and loss, the interest peaked, with many people looking to speak with and connect with the dead. Maybe they thought a demonstration of their magic would give them more clout in the community. We discussed this in our history of the Ouija board in the summer of 2022 on a bonus episode we did with our friends Tara and Carly, previously the Haunted Housewives podcast. So for the sake of not repeating any information on the show, go have a little listen to that episode because it is all sorts of spooky and hilarious. But many have been shown to be frauds, unfortunately, using wires and stage magic tricks. Sierra also discusses this in her coverage of the infamous Fox sisters on a Patreon bonus episode. So be sure to go and check that out and unlock hundreds of bonus episodes while you're there. But let's get back to levitation specifically. Daniel Douglas Home, a prolific and well-documented levitator of himself and other objects, was said by spiritualists to levitate out a window. The infamous incident was recorded by paranormal historian Frank Podmore. Quote, "We all saw him rise from the ground slowly to the height of about 6 inches, remain there for about 10 seconds, and then slowly descend." End quote. He gained so much notoriety for the incident that he began drawing in small crowds over time. Lord Adair invited him to a party in 1867. The young lord was so fascinated by the occult, and specifically Daniel Home, documenting the seances that he held over the years. He was a super fan, so to speak. During the party, they were in the parlor room on the 3rd story of the house, where Daniel levitated out the open window of one room and then back in through the window of the adjoining room in front of dozens of witnesses. Of course,
He went out one window and in a different one?
Yeah.
Damn.
Humble flex, right? Skeptics, of course, wonder if the alleged levitation was all trickery and that Daniel had balanced and walked across the iron balconies of the adjoining rooms outside. But again, on this show, we like to believe in a little magic.
Also, if he did, still kind of impressive.
Yeah, right? Now you're just circus performer.
Right.
It is good, especially when it comes to giving performers and alleged mystics to use critical thinking before giving out your hard-earned money. But I think it's fun as long as it's not hurting anyone. And in the case of Daniel Holm, it is like he was, boasting for his boys. Our fascination with magic has existed for hundreds of years, and we like to keep it alive on our show. So I hope you enjoyed this spooky little history, and make sure you guys all stay safe in whatever ways you dabble. Need we remind you of Sierra's Hot Girl Summer urban legend? I'm just saying.
When she says our fascination with magic has been around for hundreds of years, she means ours specifically because we have been around for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
Just so you know.
Yeah, it's all that vinegar we soak in.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of the occult, I do have a fun little story to share at the end of this. Some new paranormal events in my life to report before we sign off today. And I'm scared to even tell you about it. So 3 or 4 days ago, I was sitting in the bathtub, reading my book, having a glass of wine. And I have set an alarm on my phone for around 9 o'clock at night to go off to remind me to take my medication because I didn't take it for so long and I kept forgetting. So this way I don't forget. I had my phone on my bedside table in our bedroom here, and in our bedroom where I record, if you walk out the door and to the right directly, there's a bathroom there, and that's where our bathtub is. So I'm sitting in there, I hear the alarm go off. I get out, I stand on the bath mat, and I do like this little shuffle to the end of the bathroom, jump on the carpet really quick, turn off my alarm, and run back. And as I'm doing the little shuffle scoot back to the bathroom, all I hear is me. And I was like, Kevin calls me baby and says it like that when he's like scolding me or being goofy. And so I turned around thinking that he was right fucking there, giving me a hard time for getting soapy water everywhere. He was not there. He was in his games room playing video games. And I was like, I literally walked in there and I was like, did you just say baby? And he was like, no. And I was like, did you say anything? And he was like, no. And I was like, did you hear that? And he was like, no. So I'm like, that's cool.
Okay, this is one of two things, and both are kind of creepy. Okay.
Yes.
Either one. You have lived with this man for so long that he is in your consciousness, your
That's what I hope is
subconsciousness.
happening.
It's his voice in your head now that says things that normally he could say to you, but he's not there. So it's like projecting, which is fucking weird. Okay. Go away, Kevin. The other possibility is that I don't even want to say it out loud because I'm scared for you. But that it's a mimic. And I don't know about your creepy water TikTok algorithm, but my algorithm is on mimics. And apparently you better fucking ignore it or else. Like, do not
That's
respond.
what David from Down the Rabbit Hole said.
Yeah, do not respond at all. Like, pretend you didn't fucking hear it. That's scary.
Because it happened again.
Do not answer it.
So the second time that it happened, I was literally getting ready for bed, and all
Also
I
like
heard
candles. They don't like fire.
Okay, noted. I like candles. And then so I was getting ready for bed, and Kevin was feeding Thumper, and I was listening to an episode of Beach Too Sandy, and all I heard was like like frustration, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I thought he fell or like almost tripped over Thumper, because that happens a lot in our house as he's free roam and 1.5 pounds. And I ran out there thinking like he had hurt himself, and he was like, what are you talking about?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, were you not just like almost hurt or fell or frustrated? And he was like, no, I was kissing the top of Thumper's head. And then again, I'm like, did you hear that? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, option number 3. Kevin is gaslighting you equally as bad. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
I
but
don't like it.
He
You need to
doesn't.
set up cameras, use that ghost equipment, figure it out.
I don't want to. You just told me I'm supposed to ignore it.
Well, yeah, but you need to make sure you're ignoring the right thing.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm like, I can handle the hair pulling ghost. I cannot handle that shit, because I know that that's evil.
Yeah.
To say the so yeah, I'm super spooked. Hopefully it does not happen again this week, because that's 2 times 1 week. Not feeling it. And I will report back if it does.
That's awful. Before we leave, I would like to respond a tiny bit to the story and
Sorry.
say that no, it's okay. You said something about skeptics will explain it away with physics. Okay.
Yeah.
What are witches if not physicists who
true
are
story.
smarter than physicists? Because the
true story.
physicists have not even figured it out yet. We just figured it out. Okay. We know how to do things with our brain and our
True
consciousness
story.
instead of just the materials around us. So,
Spells,
yeah,
basically basically science. Just saying.
it's all science, all of it. Manifestation, brain science, okay? We just know things that y'all cannot prove yet. Okay,
I
but we
agree.
know it.
I agree.
We know it.
I think we
yeah.
need to play light as a feather, stiff as a board with Sis when I come over.
You have to have an even number of people, and I mean not an odd number of people, and I believe you have to have at least 5 people.
Yeah, I
1
think
person
you're
to lay
right.
and 4 people to lift. But I believe that you're supposed to have even more than that.
Well, all of the incidences that I mentioned only involve 4 people. So, or 5 people with 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we used to play, I think we had 7 lifting, 6 on each side, 1 at the head, and then someone laying.
Did you light candles?
And yeah, duh, of course. And I'm pretty sure I've been lifted before. So, I mean, just a little bit, because people then start to freak out. Oh my God, and then move away.
Yeah. When it starts to work, that's when it gets scary.
Right.
I was torn. I wanted to do like some sort of creepy history. And then I was listening to Wine and Crime this week, and Lucy and Amanda mentioned it again. And I was like, okay, I never played this game, and I am eerily curious. So,
you know, it's funny. I was listening to Sinisterhood, and they also mentioned it this week.
Okay. This is a week of serendipity, guys.
They mentioned the physics of it, actually. They mentioned the fact that it is physically, or, you know, is that how you say it? Physically?
Yeah. Did they give a better explanation than mine about
no, I mean,
and like
basically that's what it is.
Okay.
Like, but at
like,
the
what
same
did I
time, is that not what manifesting is?
It's true
intensely focusing on something and making it come true. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, witches are just fucking physicists.
Yeah. And that makes it even cooler, and why I never wanted to play Bloody Mary as a kid, because I was like, I'm gonna manifest this bitch and be in trouble.
Right. Also, another bit of serendipitous, not only did the podcast you were listening to mention it, in the podcast I was listening to mention it, but Bubba came to me the other day and was like, did you know that girl sleepovers are basically just witchcraft? And I was like, I did know that, but please explain.
Yeah.
And he was like,
as a girl myself.
because girl, right. I know, but how do you know? He's like, because girls at sleepovers always do stuff like play Bloody Mary, and that's witchcraft. And light as a feather, stiff as a board, and that's witchcraft. And I don't know, he named a
He
couple other things.
mentioned
I was
both of them.
Yeah, he did. He was watching TV and they
love
were
him.
talking about it. He was just relaying the information because he found it interesting. And I was like, yeah, see, I told you I'm a witch. Duh.
Yeah, I've been telling you this forever. When were you going to start to believe it?
And then the kids are like, did you play that stuff? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, can we? And I'm like, no.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
That's funny. Oh, those are all positive things. But tell me one more thing going on in your life that's good. What's happening? What are you excited about?
I am getting our life in a little more of a routine. You know, it's been a couple weeks, 2 weeks or so of summer, and summer is fucking hard because there's so much going on and also nothing going on. And so it's like you're either always on the go or you're sitting in the house and the children are bored. So we have come together and come up with a plan, Jesse and I and the kids, and the kids have their chores that they have to do, and we have certain days that we do certain things, so we're getting a routine. And I'm trying to do like meal planning, so even when I'm at school they'll have food. I found a woman on TikTok, not on TikTok, on Instagram. That's why I was on Instagram today, by the way. My sister sent me this woman on Instagram who she does some like workout videos and stuff. That's actually one of the workouts that she does is what me and Sissy did today. But most of her Instagram is food recipes, and all of them look amazing and they're healthy. Her name is Michaela _Thomas _ something. Fit, FIT.
Okay, hold on.
Michaela Thomas Fit.
We go follow immediately before my ADHD brain forgets. Is it Michaela, like MAKAY?
Mm-hmm. Literally just opened up my Instagram and the first thing on there is one of her food videos and it looks amazing.
Followed. Yeah, that does look really good. I actually recently found some really tasty recipes as well that I will share with you with instructions. Okay.
Yes, please.
Because apparently I fail at that.
Yeah, Alecia likes to send ingredients, not recipes.
One of the recipes is a French onion dip. Holy fuck, it looks so good.
Yum.
So I will share that with you. I am just really excited, even though I don't love sleeping away from Kevin, especially like I feel like I need to sage our house before I leave. I don't like sleeping apart from him because I don't usually sleep very well, but I am very excited to just have like a little bit of me time in a quiet house and have some puppy snuggles. So
that's good.
My me time is few and far in between, and I've learned that I need to live more presently because I'm literally always thinking about the next thing that I have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be like, no, this will be nice. We're not going to make a mental to-do list. We're not doing it.
That's a good idea. I love that for you. That's perfect. Yeah. Also, I would love that for me. I just tried to say that to see how it would go. I hate when people say that. I love that for you. It sounds like an insult.
It does. It kind of sounds like
I love that for you, but for me, fucking
no.
No, I love it for you, and I wish it were for me also. So
it's not going well, if that makes you feel any better.
Oh, it doesn't. I want it to go well.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you have to like rewire your brain. That takes a little bit of time.
I literally have been there. Like I'm not saying that I'm perfect now by any means, but when I think it was 2019 was when I started reading again, and the first couple books I read was about being present. And that's what I feel like turned my personality around, like to someone that I like. Like that's why I like myself, is because I fixed the things that I thought I had a problem with. So yeah.
I like that. Well, I didn't know 2019 Sierra that well. I only got to know 2020 Sierra, but I'm sure I would have loved you either way. And on that note, because we have talked about food so much here, and it has been an hour, I am starving. We are gonna log off of this episode. But we hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really is the best way to spread the word. And we got new stickers, and we'd love to send you a little thank you if you send us a screenshot and you're comfortable sharing your address with these twisted weirdos. Like I said, you can check out hundreds of bonus episodes over on our Patreon. And even if you don't want to do any of those things, just recommend our show to somebody that you think might like it, because that goes a long way as well. And we will see you next week for a very special episode with some very special guests. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
We'll be talking about a conspiracy.
Oh, I'm so excited. I know that'll be perfect for them. You'll have to tune in next week to see who we're talking about. And in the meantime, keep it twisted. Twisted and Uncorked is a proud member of Weirding Way Media. Hosted and produced by Sierra Zorn and Alecia Watson. If you like the show, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can check out all things Twisted on our website, twistedanduncorked.com, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode.